Hey guys, it's Jarrod from JT Electrical Group. We're in another build. This is another Summit Vans build, one of the first ones with our Victron system, which we are now moving into on the Summit Van side of things. So it's got a massive 1050 amp hours at 12 volt Victron energy system. We've got dual DC chargers, 3 kVA inverter, twin solar controllers, full monitoring. It's got a Starlink Mini, so we can monitor remotely. We can track him for like tech support. There's not much this van doesn't have. We'll take you through it now. Just be mindful, I'm filming this video the night before handover, so the van isn't completely finished, but it is on our electrical side of things. I'll start at the control panel. So like I said, we've got 1050 amp hours. We've got three 350 amp hour lithium batteries, which are quite neatly tucked away in this section here. So three 350s. And again, keeping it fully compliant with AS3001, sealed battery box, vented to the atmosphere, IEC 62619 batteries. All of the boxes are ticked. The only thing I have to do tomorrow is put the labels on the battery box. Now we'll come into the control panel, and obviously you can see we've got the full Victron servo monitoring system, your inverter, your AC load, so everything that your inverter is running, like your aircon, microwave, induction cooker, your grid, so your AC shore power. When you connect to the grid, the inverter will use that power to run whatever the AC loads are, and anything that's extra or left over, we'll charge the battery out. So it's a 120 amp DC charger when you are plugged into shore power. We've got our solar yield on the left, so you can click on it and it'll bring up our solar controller, our two solar controllers. So one does his two 140 watt panels on the roof, they're Victron panels, and then the other solar controller does his Anderson plug blanket. We just keep them separate to run a full 100% efficiency, and that'll all come through as like one total wattage if he is using both solar controllers. Obviously, like I said, dual DC chargers, so he can get 100 amps of DC charge while he's driving, which is awesome. You can see them both here. You can see all their specs and stuff. You can go into them and say, all right, which one's on, which one's off, what are they doing? The way we've actually wired them is they're always both going to be on, because we've hooked them up to the ignition wire of this vehicle. So they know when the car's on, they're both going to turn on, they're going to work together. They are VE networked together through the turbo system, and they're going to work together and not fight against each other like you get in some other systems. Obviously, you've got a couple of screens with the Victron system. There's some other way of viewing stuff. We're also monitoring 3 tanks with our voltage sensors. You've got a 90 litre freshwater rear, you've got a 95 litre freshwater front or side, and then you've got a 45 litre wastewater at the front on the other side from where the other one is. Obviously notifications and then your settings on the screen. But that's basically all your monitoring. Now you can connect this to the Starlink Mini once he has powered up and activated his Starlink Mini. I'll be able to walk him through to connect this to the internet, and then I'll be able to track it via the VRM on my portal. And if he's got any troubles, he can give me a buzz. This customer's from Adelaide, so I can be in Wollongong, he can be in Adelaide. I can jump on the portal and go, all right, sweet, it looks like only like one DC charger is running and not the other one, which I would know because, like I said, ignition wire, both of them should just be on or off, not one or the other, because they're both hooked up to the same ignition wire. So I can be like, all right, let's check this fuse, let's check that fuse, and he'll have his problem solved in half an hour's time. That's the biggest perk with the Victron systems and having something like a Starlink on the vehicle. Now, back to the control panel. We've got our trademark JT Electrical tricolor lighting controls. So everything is dual color and dimmable on each color for the 2 strips in the roof, and then the 2 lights on the awning and the 2 lights on the driver's side. We then move to, obviously, like I was talking about before, our Starlink switch, our shower exhaust fan switch, our water pump switch, and then our 2 tank valves. So basically all this stuff here is all our plumbing, water pump, fresh water valve, grey water valve, and then our diesel heater, which does our water heating, and then it also does our air heating. Obviously 240, so that runs off the inverter. And then you've also got induction cooker and microwave hooked up to the AC. We've got freezer in up the top section. I'll show you, freezer, fridge, and then fridge drawer down the bottom. shower downlight, which has always got power, whether the exhaust fan is off or not. And then that's it's got 2 little fans in that exhaust fan. We've got our staple LED strip lighting, so they're all touch dimmable. I'll just show you, it's easier. Obviously this first section just does like this meter over the kitchen. Then we got one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side over the bed. Again, those switches are at the rear, so you can access them from the bed. We've only just got the one Sirocco fan, 360-degree fan in this build. And then on the driver's side, in the flare of the bed, you've got 2 reading lamps with USB in them as well. They're a warm white reading lamp, and then they're also dimmable. USBs in the overhead, and there's also USBs in this overhead. We've also got 240 AC power at the front seat for the lagoon table, and if there is ever a passenger. I will jump to the front now. We've got our Baja Amber, which does the amber on the spotties and the amber on the roof light bar. We've got our Baja spot and our roof spot, so they're switched separately. So the roof light bar is obviously triggered via the high beam of the vehicle, and same with the Baja spotties on the front, which are LP9s. We've got compressor, as you can hear, under the bonnet. Now, this can be switched from the front and from the rear of the vehicle, which I'll show you in a sec. And then we've got 2 rear lights. One of them switched from here, the other one switched from the back of the vehicle. And then you've got your winch input. We hardwire the winch input to here purely just so you're not relying on the Bluetooth of the winch controller in case it does bugger up or the batteries are flat. You've got your $300,000 vehicle in a mud hole. The last thing you want to be doing is being stuck in the mud hole because the Bluetooth is not working or the little AA batteries in your winch controller have died. It's just a fail safe. You have the hardwire there, away you go. So simple. At the rear of the vehicle, in the garage area, you've got your shower temp, which looks after the shower section on the outside. So this unit plugs in, you attach your shower hose to it, and then you can control the temperature from that little electronic thermomixing dial on the inside. Obviously we've got our garage lights, and then this is where the other S1 light at the rear is switched from. And like I said before, the other one on the left side is switched from the driver's seat. And then again, switch from the front and from the rear is the compressor. So you've got an air outlet here, and then you've got an air outlet underneath the passenger seat of the vehicle. Then again, running with our Victron 16 amp stainless shore power input. We use that input instead of the Clipsal 15 amp ones that you see on the caravans, because those ones are cheap and crap and plastic. And the stainless ones, yes, they're more expensive, but they're gonna last a lot longer. 316 stainless screws that go in it, the screws are all rust guarded. You're not gonna have a problem with that. You're gonna replace those plastic ones once every couple of years. Okay, so this is the Victron system. We are in the garage passenger side wheel arch box. Now, obviously, just be mindful it's not fully finished. Still got to do some labels and put the covers on for the 240 section. But we'll start off with our charging. So our DC charging, dual 50 amp DC chargers, so 100 amps from his alternator while the car is driving and at idle. Solar, we have the 2 solar controllers up here. One does the blanket input and one does the 2 140 watt Victron panels on the roof. AC charging runs through the Multiplus unit with our Victron shore power plug on the outside. It's going to deliver 120 amps of charge when plugged into shore power, as well as AC transfer switch built in, so it's going to run all the power points in the van as well. And then in inverter mode, 2400 watt pure sine wave inverter and a 5500 watt peak inverter. Double pole RCDs to keep it all compliant with the Australian standards. Running our AC wiring separate to our DC wiring, so none of the AC is in our cable trunking. Again, 3001, AS 3001 compliant installation. Our battery box, which you can't really see because it's all covered in, but again, yes, the 350 amp hour batteries are in there. Fully sealed battery box, vented to the atmosphere, IEC 62619 batteries. We've got Victron shunt, obviously our main switch and circuit breaker there. MIDI fuses looking after the fuse blocks and the 2 DC chargers. And then our GX tank module, looking after our 3 water tanks, our turbo, which links to the screen in the control panel. And then we just run a little DC converter to look after our Starlink Mini. All our 12 volt circuits, got 18 circuits, which we've used up every slot, and everything's individually fused. So if one circuit blows, like the reading lamps per se, only the reading lamps are gonna blow. You're not gonna have something else that can't be used because the reading lamps have blown. So that is another perk of this system. All right guys, thanks for watching. If this is something that you're looking to do in your van, or you've got a system at the moment and you want to do this in your caravan, we can also do these sorts of things in caravans as well. And then you go on to the tiny homes, boats, all that jazz. This is what we do. We do everything by the book, and a lot of the time we do it overkill. Obviously he's got a lot of power, so he's got 1050 amp hours. This system can be done with a 350 battery, with a 700, 1050, and then you can even go up to 1400 because these batteries will allow us to have 4 in parallel at a 12 volt system. You can go to 24 volt and 48 volt. It's all the same thing. You're just gonna have the same screens. You're just gonna have to run all your 12 volt stuff off of converter. Give the video a like, hit the subscribe button, and we're gonna show you some more in-depth stuff on how we do things in Australia and how we believe the standard state things should be done in the country, because I'm sick of seeing customers get ripped off or get a vehicle, they don't get an electrical certificate, it's not compliant, and then their hopes and dreams are just shattered of actually being able to travel around our country and being able to do so legally and not have that burden over their head of, oh, if something happens, insurance not going to cover us. That's not what we're about. We want to look after our customers and help as many people as we can. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to try and answer them for you.